Hello, everybody, and welcome to the UNLV College of Education Scholarship and Practice web lecture series. Thank you for joining us on a very rainy day. I was glad that I was able to make it to a safe spot to join this call. Um, I've been looking forward to this event for a long time. I have Dr. Marcedes Butler here with me, and she'll basically be running the show after I do some general overview. The title of our talk today is Collaborative Research with Nonprofits, a Boys and Girls Club of Southern Nevada Case Study. I'll introduce myself and I'll let Dr. Butler introduce herself in a bit. All right, so my name is Shih. I am the Associate Dean of Student and Community Engagement. I've been at UNLV since 1999, so I've been here for a while, a long time considering this was supposed to be a 2-year visit to Las Vegas, which ended up being really the lifespan of my kids in school. While the original plan was 2 years, I really couldn't imagine living or raising my kids anywhere else. I'm a mathematics educator by trade, and in 1999, when I was hired, and when I look at the list of people that are on the call, they're very familiar with the climate that we were in, and that was to bring UNLV to top-tier research status. So using the Carnegie classification, the goal of the university 20 plus years ago was to get to top tier research status. And of course, as you all know, we were able to achieve that. And also, after that being our goal for so long, many of us, particularly faculty members, wondered what was next. And of course, that was top tier 2.0. Okay. The Carnegie classification is used as a way to distinguish certain aspects of universities. So research status is one of them. UNLV also has the Carnegie classification for community engagement as well. And in the next round of Carnegie classification, I think the thing that we also are looking forward to doing is maintaining both top-tier research status and community engagement. I think at the university level, it's important to note that there's an Office of Community Engagement, and one of the top tier 2.0 standards is community engagement. So I've babbled on about this a little bit, but there are people at the university level that are very much engaged in this idea. So at the college level, it's actually pretty interesting in the sense that my job actually includes community engagement in the title. So as community engagement became more important in the university classification, deans had decisions to make about what to do about it. And our dean, Dean Danica Hayes, decided to create an associate dean position that included student and community engagement, which was the job that I decided to take in the middle of the pandemic. One of the reasons that I actually chose to take that job was really to help faculty get more involved with the community. So a quote that has been in my head, and I'm not really sure where it comes from, but it's one that I use when I'm interviewing faculty members or people that want to work in the College of Education, is that a university can only truly be great if it serves its local community. So one of the things that's really important for our dean is for anybody that wants to work in the College of Education, they need to meet with me. Right. And one of the things that I share with them is the college's vision for community engagement. So not only do we want you to be a top tier researcher, but our dean also feels that working with the community is important. And my job is to help make those connections. So in some sense, with a smile on my face, I say I am Tinder for community engagement. Right? My job is to match a faculty or a staff member's interest in the community with a community partner. So if you're a community partner and you're interested in working with UNLV faculty, you can contact me. I listen to pitches all the time. I talk to people all the time. And my job is to make these nice connections and let those connections grow. Right. So the main focus of today's presentation is really the outcome of one of those original conversations. So I had met with the Boys and Girls Club a number of times, and we found quickly that there were a lot of places where the work of the College of Education intersected with the work that they do. And we got to a point where we tried to formalize the relationship a little bit more and basically said, what would really be neat is if you funded a position that would serve as the liaison between the UNLV College of Education and the Boys and Girls Club. And that became Dr. Marcedes Butler's position that she serves in right now. So I'll leave that kind of as the intro, and I'll let Dr. Butler present on what are some of the exciting things that she's currently working on and what she's going to be working on in the future. Just as a matter of logistics for the presentation, we'll save questions for the end. If you have questions that you want to put in the Q&A or the chat, I'll monitor those and we'll get to those at the very end. And certainly if you don't feel like typing, we can use the raise hand function and you can ask questions verbally at the end as well. So with that all said, I will pass the microphone over to Dr. Marcedes Butler.
Thank you, Dr. Shih. I appreciate it. So to start off, let me introduce myself, give you some background information about my involvement in the Boys and Girls Club and all of our projects. The position appeared to be written directly for me as someone who spent their entire life attending the Boys and Girls Club in Long Beach, California. I am a living testament to the benefits of attending the Boys and Girls Club. I was an only child for 10 years, and so the Boys and Girls Club really occupied a lot of my youth, and I'm very thankful for all the opportunities that I was granted. The Boys and Girls Club has been instrumental in me being in this position I am in today. I am a Boys and Girls Club fellow, and I use my experiences to help guide them along the way of developing research questions and projects that help fulfill their mission. I utilize my many years of being a student and working in higher education and to develop my concierge level services to plug in the community to the university. And also, this is helping to develop my P through 20 educational experience from substituting to working with students in college. And lastly, this position is really helping me develop into a faculty member. That is my next step and goal along my academic and career journey. I want to share and talk a little bit about the photo that I posted January 28th, 2000. I am at the Leaders in Training banquet with other mentees who are celebrating a year-long program. I am still in contact with majority of the individuals in the photo. And can you believe that the program Leaders in Training is still available to this day with the organization? And so again, I'm just super proud and honored to share with you some of my projects and research that I've been conducting over the last year. Now, before I start and give you some background and information about the projects, I want to just give you context of really the foundation that I am utilizing to move forward with my research, and that is community-based participatory research. It's a collaborative and equitable approach to research that is carried out in partnership with the researcher and the community. And so it is a 6-phase step that is continuous, is repetitious, and it's not sequential. So I am facilitating many of those steps in different orders. What I want to highlight is the 2 phases of this foundation. And again, that's the researcher and the community. So as a researcher who has lots of experience with the Boys and Girls Club, and the community partner being the Boys and Girls Club of Southern Nevada, together we develop what is best to move forward the mission and the goal. And together and collectively, we put together our information, our knowledge, our skills, our resources to answer questions. And throughout this presentation, I'm going to spend time really talking through these steps as we come up with solutions to different problems that exist. I'm going to focus a lot on really assessing the community, evaluating our activities, and designing the research project. The partnership came about very organically. Dr. Shih took the lead on setting that up. And then my lived experiences really just brought the partnership to the next level. And so it is one that I am proud of, that I engage in on a regular basis, and so excited to share the work that has been conducted thus far and what we have in store. Now, the community partner, the Boys and Girls Club of Southern Nevada. I am blessed to be able to work with Andy, Daniel, Nicole daily to answer these research questions and to really develop the project. And we spend a lot of time brainstorming and having focus groups to hone in on what is really needed to benefit the Boys and Girls Club, UNLV, and the local community. The Boys and Girls Club mission is to enable all young people, especially those who need us the most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. There is a stat out there that says 1 in every 19 individual has come in contact with the Boys and Girls Club. And I found that to be true. Throughout this year, I've met so many contacts who have been impacted by the Boys and Girls Club. And so it just is confirmation how important this organization is and the work and the projects to fulfilling the mission of the organization. They have several programs and activities available to the participants and to the community. For instance, they have homework help and power hour that I'll talk a little bit more about later. There's sports, there's service opportunities, scholarships, crafts, leadership, workforce development programs that students and participants can participate in amongst 13 clubs here locally in Southern Nevada. Before I transition, I just want to say thank you to Wing Song Trust, who in collaboration with the Boys and Girls Club have developed my position, and I am truly grateful. So my roles and responsibilities. So when I saw the job description, as I mentioned, it was perfect for me and my skill sets of being a liaison and a concierge, of bringing together resources, people, information to achieve goals. And so one is internship and practicum programs for UNLV students where they're able to apply theory to practice. Second is professionalization programs for current Boys and Girls Club staff. Third is, again, serving as that liaison, bringing everyone together for a common goal. And fourth is analyzing and addressing the academic needs of Boys and Girls Club members. Now, throughout these roles and responsibilities, different projects and service opportunities have made themselves available. First is Youth Mental Health First Aid. Now, if you're not familiar with Mental Health First Aid, it is a program that equips you with tools to be able to speak to individuals about mental health challenges, and suicide. And there is a 5-process step that they call algae. And similar to the foundation that we are utilizing for the projects, these 5 steps are fluid. They can go in any order. You can utilize each of the steps that you need to be able to achieve the goal that you're seeking when discussing mental health. During the pandemic, the Boys and Girls Club was one of few organizations that were open to the public. They served resources, programs, food, and one unique aspect that was developed is mental health services. The Boys and Girls Club received funding to open up, one of the first of its kind, a mental health division inside of the Boys and Girls Club. And it was due twofold. One, during the pandemic, they realized that not only was the community impacted mentally by what was going on, but also the staff that was serving. And so through a generous grant, the Boys and Girls Club decided to equip their staff members with tools to address mental health concerns and challenges. And so in the month of May of 2023, staff undergone an intervention. And over a course of 4 days, they went through a hybrid training. Half of it was online, virtual, where you did a pre and a post test, and there was quizzes and tests to assess knowledge. And then second was in-person training to apply that theory to practice. I actually participated in that training. And so together, we learned strategies to be able to really facilitate discussions around mental health. A second piece to this project is because of the great concern of mental health impact to the community and to the members, the Boys and Girls Club has actually extended their services in a partnership at UNLV with the practice. And so the work continues. After the implementation of the mental health training, through discussions with the leadership and the staff, we decided that how would we track if they're implementing it, how they're implementing it, is it useful? And so through the development of a program evaluation that is titled Implementation of Mental Health First Aid Action Plan Algae, a case study of Boys and Girls Club staff members, will allow me to follow up post 1 year from the training to see how the staff are implementing the 5-step algae plan. And with that information, the goal is to create additional professional development programs around mental health for staff, targeting and focusing in the areas that the staff feel is most needed. How I'm going to gather that information is through surveys, in addition to interviews and focus groups with the staff. This information will guide additional research around mental health, since this is the first year of the mental health office and initiatives from the Boys and Girls Club of Southern Nevada. The second project is centered around practicum experiences that emphasize practical application to theory. Again, that theory to practice. The Boys and Girls Club was very clear and adamant that they want UNLV students from different majors to work at the 13 clubs, volunteer at the 13 clubs, and have a place to practice what they're learning in the classroom. In particular, there is a focus on pre-service teachers who are in the process of gaining their in-service hours. And the goal of this project is if they are teaching, if they are completing their hours in a community that they do not plan to teach in, this gives them the opportunity to get familiar with the community. Not just the classroom, but the community, and then the community in the classroom, and then be able to provide that feedback to the Boys and Girls Club on ways that we can positively impact student success and student achievement. The research question is, what key processes are involved in practicum opportunities, and how do these processes contribute to the success of service learning programs, particularly in terms of addressing administrative barriers and improving the onboarding process? What the research says is what prevents individuals from volunteering with organizations is the onboarding process. Whether it takes too long, it's confusing, they're not sure. There is ample work to do at the Boys and Girls Club, ample work to do. And so through clearing the pathway to opportunities, it allows different type of community members to impact the lives of the members of the Boys and Girls Club. We have 3 UNLV student populations that are currently volunteering and completing service learning hours throughout the 13 clubs. The first population that I mentioned briefly is pre-service teachers. So there are a cohort of teachers who, again, are able to apply what they're learning in the classroom to the community and provide information to the Boys and Girls Club on how to be more efficient and effective. The student then gains information from the Boys and Girls Club that they can bring back into the classroom. The real goal is teacher retention. Teacher retention, allowing first and second years teachers the opportunity to get comfortable, not only in the classroom, but also in communities similar to what they'll be teaching in. The second group are College of Education, first year and second year students. This is a general education course that is required at UNLV. And what I really appreciate about the College of Education first and second year courses is that there's a service learning component to the course that encompasses assignments, including a research question, a literature review, a presentation, a podcast, all focused on, in this case, the research site would be the Boys and Girls Club. And this information helps guide the leadership in deciding on what grants to apply for, how they can make changes to the procedures and processes because they have students from the outside looking in. And it allows for possible opportunities of employment or other volunteer initiatives if the student would like to stay. Third is our newest population of students and is a testament to allowing students the opportunity to practice what they're learning in a real world setting leads to opportunities. Our grant manager at the Boys and Girls Club was a America Read participant. She started out as volunteering, working at the Boys and Girls Club through this work studies opportunity, and now she's a full-time employee. And so the goal of the Boys and Girls Club is to continue to have more success stories such as those. And with this group of students who are working 20 hours a week, tutoring in math and English. And as I mentioned earlier, with the Power Hour, which every Boys and Girls Club emphasizes helping each member with their homework, with their assignments. And that ranges from 1 to 3 hours per day, depending on the site and depending on the grade. And so, and through these practicum experiences, the goal is to impact the workforce and the local community around us. Research project 3. I want to spend a little time on this slide because last but definitely not least, through the CBPR Foundation, bringing together all of our collective hard work and resources, this is the main research question. What are the benefits for youth attending the Boys and Girls Club? As someone with their whole life, I can list several benefits, but what does the research say? And we spent a lot of time really discussing how do we measure the benefits of the Boys and Girls Club? The focus is around academic success and achievement, grade level core competencies, and utilizing data from the Nevada Department of Education and CCSD. So through the brainstorming process, what we've come up with thus far is, this is going to take some time, as community research does, but it is a process that includes lots of buy-in. So for the last couple of weeks, I've been spending time with the staff who actually tutor the students, who oversee the students, and documenting what they think the Boys and Girls Club should measure in regards to student success and achievement. Based on that comprehensive list, we will meet as a team to identify the areas that we want to pursue in answering this very broad research question, because there's so many factors that impact student success, academic achievement, the benefits of the Boys and Girls Club. My goal as the researcher is to help guide the Boys and Girls Club in regards to whatever they decide that they would like to research. For instance, one area that we are developing is, what do parents think are the benefits to the Boys and Girls Club to their child or children? And surveying and interviewing to really find out what they think and then utilize that information to go in and make adjustments to the many programs and services that they already offer to members, but in addition, create new up and coming innovative programs that allow the Boys and Girls Club to meet its mission. Now, I know I said a mouthful. There's probably lots of questions, but I wanted to just stop here, just make sure we don't have any questions or any comments. But bringing in all of this information, all of the networks, all of our competencies together to then figure out the next steps. And one of the things that I've learned with answering such a broad question is things take time. This is a project in the making over many years. And I'm just thankful to have the opportunity to work with the Boys and Girls Club, the College of Education, to streamline some of these processes so that we can continue to achieve the mission of the university and the Boys and Girls Club. Let's stop here and see if there's any questions.
We're looking blank in the Q&A and the chat.
Questions?
We got one from Jen. Okay. If I represent a community organization, what's a good first step to starting a research-related project with someone at UNLV? Probably the easiest first step is to contact me. So that's literally my job. I'm kind of, I don't want to say gatekeeper because I'm not trying to keep anybody away, but I'm the contact person is probably the better person. So the last slide will have my email. I'm easily Googleable. There aren't too many Jeff Shihs in Las Vegas.
So Dr. Gordon raised hand.
Yeah, first of all, I think this is a very interesting presentations, and you listed three project. My question is focused on research project 3, and I'm not sure if I hear this correctly. How many boys and girls clubs do you have in Southern Nevada? Is it 13?
Yes, it's 13.
Okay, so okay, and I wanted to find out what sampling you're going to use and how you're going to select these participants. Are you going to select from the 13 clubs, or are you going to, I don't know, purposively, or just say a little bit about that, the selection.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. So let me back up a little bit to answer that question. And so as a liaison, there's so many individuals that are part of this process. Let me thank my colleagues and coworkers in the College of Education, especially in teaching and learning, for the collaboration. So with the pre-service teachers, that collaboration was developed out of the degree requirement that pre-service teachers have, which is a practicum and an internship. The teaching and learning department requires that their pre-service teachers complete 10 or more hours a semester in community service. Again, applying what they're learning in the classroom to the community. In particular, really a community that they're actually going to teach in once they graduate. Through that partnership, there are options. There are a list of options, a list of community organizations that pre-service teachers can select from. Now, the Boys and Girls Club being one. Pre-service teachers have the option to select from any of the 13 clubs. We do not limit them. It is based on their availability between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. And they can gain 1 to 4 hours per week until they reach their goal. And so there is no limitation. The same with the College of Education first and second year students. Through that reestablished relationship, students can pick from the 13 club. Now, what we've seen is that the majority are located at the campus, the location that is on our UNLV campus. And if you're not aware, we do have a Boys and Girls Club location. And so we do see that. And then with America Reads, these are all work study eligible students. So the university pays them to go into the community and to tutor. And again, we are flexible in regards to where they complete the hours throughout the 13 clubs in Southern Nevada. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. And one last thing. This is just a trivia question.
Oh,
You can answer it, or Dr. Shih can answer it.
okay.
Can you name influential celebrity who was a product? I know you know it.
Oh,
The
yes.
Boys and Girls Club.
Yes.
One of my favorite too. Who is
Okay,
it?
I don't know if it's your favorite, but one that I can say right now who gives to not only to the Boys and Girls Club of America, but particularly to Southern Nevada
Yeah.
is Shaq.
Jack, and also Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington.
That's the one. Okay.
That's the
thank
one
you.
you was looking for?
Yes.
And there are so many more that
Yeah.
give back. I actually, through my birthday last year, raised several $100s for the Boys and Girls Club. And that's one of my initiatives that I've learned through really this community work, is that it never ends. It just transitions. And so as I transition through the research and becoming a faculty, I don't leave the Boys and Girls Club alone. Now I'm just going to transition into development and foundation and helping them raise money. And so that is one of the most important lessons that I've learned throughout this community aspect, is that this is an ongoing process.
Okay, best wishes and good luck with your project.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Kyle had a question too, and that's
Okay.
what are some obstacles that you've had to overcome with this work? You want me to answer that one first, or do you want it all?
You can jump in there.
I mean, I think working with organizations just in general, you end up with the probably similar obstacles, right? Logistics, who do you have to talk to? Obviously, working with children in particular, I mean, a protected population has also certain constraints and restrictions. And you know, when I talked with Marcedes this morning, I said, well, no one wants to hear about IRB at this talk, but I know, I think when you're conducting research, that becomes important, right? So going through all the proper research channels that we have to do so that the UNLV side is able to get some publications out of it, while at the same time serving the community and doing great things. I think those are kind of the big things. And I think that's one of the things that Dr. Butler really has excelled at, right? The liaison position is really one that requires finesse and a delicate hand sometimes. I think one of the things that we haven't mentioned too much is that she's been a liaison also to welcoming other faculty members to do the work. So it's not just her. I think also, particularly with a lot of the work in the College of Education, the problems are insurmountable sometimes, right? There's so much need, there's so much work that has to get done. It really is like drinking through a fire hose. So trying to kind of make things digestible you know, and finding units of change that you can be successful in is also a challenge. So at least those are the things that I think to respond with when I first read your question, Kyle. So I'll let Dr. Butler chime in. Yeah.
I think the first lesson that I learned is that the Boys and Girls Club of Southern Nevada knows what is best about their organization. I had so many ideas based on my experience. And yes, they're valid. However, this organization has been running 60 plus years here in Las Vegas, and they are very fluent in understanding what is and what isn't possible. And so I had to take a step back, immerse myself in the culture of the organization, get to know the staff and the students and the flow and the process, because sometimes I'll say you can get hurt helping, right? So I'm trying to help, but you really causing more work or creating questions and issues and problems that we're not concerned about. We really want to focus in this area. And so really taking a step back, functioning and my researcher role, allowing the community partner to function as the expert in their organization, and then bringing our collective efficacy and power together. The second thing that I wrote is it's similar to kind of what Dr. Shih already explained, is that there are so many members of the community, both at UNLV and at the Boys and Girls Club. And it took organization and lists and spreadsheets to really keep all of the partnerships together, and then really emphasizing and organizing those that help meet the research question or the needs of the organization. And things can possibly spiral out of control if the real purpose and goal isn't kept at the forefront. And that is always what is best for the organization based on what the organization think is best for them. I think we have some more questions.
Yep, another one from Jen. What learnings from this project can be applied to other community-based youth organizations, or what is unique to Boys and Girls Club? Want me to start?
Yeah, will you read the question one more time, please?
I read it really fast. What learnings from this project can be applied to other community-based youth organizations? Okay. Or what is unique to Boys and Girls Club?
I think what is unique to the Boys and Girls Club, particularly here in Southern Nevada, is that there are 13 locations spread out throughout the city. And they are positioned in areas that require their services and require programs that are being implemented. And so I think that is one area that is unique to the Boys and Girls Club. Also, because and if you don't know, most of UNLV graduates will stay local. They will stay local. And so they have had some type of interaction with the Boys and Girls Club or organizations similar. And it allows, again, for those additional opportunities for partnership. That's one of the things that I think is unique compared to other organizations here locally. They don't have multiple locations unlike the Boys and Girls Club. I think the closest that I would say is similar would maybe be the YMCA. Dr. Shih, did you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think a lot of it's structural, right? Like I think every organization has its own challenges and its own constraints, right? So I think one of the things, the example that pops into my head is that at Boys and Girls Club, from a researcher standpoint, you're not allowed to record kids, right? So I think as a math educator, like a lot of the work and research that I did would involve video of kids solving math problems, right? But Boys and Girls Club does not allow for that. So I think things that are unique to organizations obviously affect and impact research and thus probably impact the kind of the types of questions and policy questions that you can answer and think about. One of the questions that I typed the answer to, but I'll just bring it up verbally because I don't want to be dismissive of it. I don't know if Rosalind can see it, but she had asked, what's the age range that Boys and Girls Club considers as youth? And then in Southern Nevada, it's ages 6 to 18, and 6-year-olds have to be in first grade, and 18-year-olds have to be in 12th grade to attend the clubhouse. I think we're good. So you should bring us home and wrap us up, Dr. Butler.
Okay, well, I want to first start by thanking you for joining us. I really appreciate your time and attention to this matter. The Boys and Girls Club of Southern Nevada mission is to impact the life of students and to really provide a space between school and home where students have an opportunity to learn and grow. And as someone who presents to you as a living testament of the impact of the Boys and Girls Club on students' life, I'm thankful to be in a position to not only be able to pay that forward, but also research and develop the next phases of my professional and personal career. This community-based research is important because it's about collective efficacy, bringing together members of the community to impact those around us, not only locally, but also globally. And through these 3 projects, the goal is to allow different pathways into UNLV, back into the Boys and Girls Club, and to continue this reciprocal relationship really for a lifetime with the university and with the community. One of the main goals is to not only launch all of these projects and to answer these research questions, but it's also important, and I take it very seriously, is that the Boys and Girls Club and the community are able to maintain them. And the putting in the processes, procedures, and individuals that will help sustain all of the hard work that is being done each and every day. And so it is a pleasure and a joy to show up to the Boys and Girls Club and not only share my personal experience, but to help them continue to fulfill the mission. If you have any additional questions, comments, our contact information is on the slide. I am going to pause and just make sure we don't have any additional questions before I share our last slide. Dr. Shih, is there anything in the chat box?
I think we're clear.
Are we
You
clear?
can go to the last slide for sure. So.
Okay. In the College of Education, one of the things that we do really well is document our success and our project. And so Our Scholarship in Practice web series continues. The next one is March 26th, the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of MSI, Minority Serving Institutions. And so Christine Espinoza, who is a doctoral student at UNLV, will share all the ins and outs of all her projects concerning MSI. So take a moment now, please scan the QR code that you see on the screen to get yourself registered. Lastly, I will end with, you will receive an evaluation. Please provide some feedback. If you have additional questions or comments, feel free to leave them on the evaluation. Dr. Shih or I will get in contact with you to provide you with any answers or resolutions that you may have. Dr. Shih, any last comments before we wrap up?
No, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming. I'm nearly positive the recording will be available somewhere at some time. So certainly, if you don't get contacted to have a link for it, just email me. Oh yeah. So Jen says yeah. So it'll be available somehow. So a big thank you. I mean, especially on a crazy day like this, we really appreciate you spending some time with us.